Well, hello everyone. This is Jamie Silver with Herf Jones Yearbooks and Varsity Brands. Welcome to the April episode of the Yearbook podcast. I am pretty excited. I just got back from the plant to do some press checks and check on all the pages and covers that you guys are working so hard on. And I'll be sharing some photos and some video clips of that in the next episode. But things are looking great. I'm excited to see all your dreams come into reality in printed form, and I can't wait to get them to you at school. So in the meantime, and speaking of that, most of you listening have finished your book. Clearly, it is April, but some of you are not, or some of you get a fall delivery book. So if that's the case and you're still working on your yearbook, please, of course, call me, Sarah, or one of our tech support advisors anytime we can be of help to you. But today's podcast is going to be more about, the first video I'm going to show you is about submitting the book. In case you have not finished yet, or you get your books in the fall, so your deadlines are a bit later, just in case you had any questions about that. A couple other demonstrations, and then we're going to jump into one of those inspirational videos that we've been sharing the last couple episodes. So to get things started, first I'd like to share this with you on submitting pages if you haven't done so already. If you have, please feel free to skip forward, but I'm going to play this for you and I'll be right back.
In this tutorial, we'll look at how you submit your pages to the plant. The first tutorial listed on screen covers the overall workflow for pages in eDesign, showing the stages that pages go through from unedited to submitted. The second tutorial covers the pre-flight check function. In this tutorial, we'll look at the final steps involved in submitting your pages to the plant, which will include the final pre-flight check. In my example book, you'll see that I have these two spreads that I've already proofed for content and that I've moved to the in pre-flight status. All that remains is for me to pre-flight them and then submit them to the plant. To run the final pre-flight on a page, click the Run Pre-Flight link. The right-hand page is now open in pre-flight, but since I want to pre-flight both pages, I'll click to open the left-hand page as well. This page looks good. There are no issues to resolve. And this page looks good. There are no issues to resolve. So I'll click Finish. eDesign will then give me a chance to add or edit any special instructions for the pages. In most cases, you won't have any special instructions for the plant. Then click OK. eDesign will then generate a final PDF of the page in its final form for your review, and it will move the page or spread into the pre-submit status. I'll do the same thing for the next spread. You're now ready to submit some pages. I could submit individual pages by clicking the Submit link on the page. However, there's a more efficient procedure. If you work your way through all the pages you plan to submit in a particular batch and get them in the pre-submit status, you can then submit the whole batch at one time. To do this, you'll filter the ladder to show only the pages that are in the pre-submit status. Choose Pre-Submit from the pull-down filter menu at the top. You'll then see only those pre-submit pages, and this button will appear at the top of the ladder. It's the Express Submit button. Clicking this button will submit all of the pre-submit pages to the plant in one batch. And that's how you submit your pages to the plant. For more information or for written instructions, please see the other resources in eDesign Help.
Now again, I know many of you have done this already, but just want to share that with you if you're still working on submitting your pages. And boy, that Express Submit button that you saw Mark show there is a great tool to kind of speed up the process. So again, if you have any questions, please let me know. For our next demonstration, we're going to jump forward into saving things forward to the next school year. So if you have finished your book and there are some things that you may have made from scratch rather than one of our templates, or if you took one of our templates and modify it, rather than having to recreate the wheel every year, this will let you save pages forward to the next year. Now, before I show this video, I want to highlight one thing that Mark points out. I just want to make sure everyone sees that when you save templates forward, you want to save templates forward from the library, preferably ones without photos, because if you do with photos, it's going to bring those photos into next year's publication, and there's nothing worse than accidentally using a photograph that was used the previous year. So take note of that. The workaround for that is to save pages as templates before pictures are in, or if you've already got them done, is to save it as a template, bring it onto a practice page, remove all the pictures so it's just gray boxes, and then export that template forward to next year to avoid bringing any unwanted photos from the previous year. So I'm going to show you that video here, and I will be right back.
The Save It Forward feature allows the advisor to transfer key elements and settings from one year's book to the next year's book or to a supplement. To use Save It Forward, you must have at least 2 active projects that you can select from when logging in. You should always log in to the previous year's book or to the main book if you're saving to a supplement. Once you're logged in, click the link for Save It Forward along the top right of the interface. Select the book or supplement to which you wish to save. Then click Next. In the Options area, select the items you wish to move forward. Selecting Staff will activate your same staff members for working on the next year's book or supplement. Checking Page Assignments will assign each staff member to the same pages in next year's book or supplement. Selecting Topics will move forward your topic list, which was called Sections in the 2015 production year. So if you had created a robust list of sections in your 2015 book, you can move those forward to your 2016 book. Just be aware they are now called topics rather than sections. Checking Ladder Topics will assign these topics, formerly called sections, to the same pages in the ladder in the next year's book. Checking Fonts will activate the same fonts. Checking Colors will activate the same color swatches. If you have selected both fonts and colors, then Character Styles becomes an option. Selecting Character Styles will move forward any styles you created. Since character styles are dependent on both fonts and colors, you have to move both fonts and colors forward in order to be able to save forward character styles. You can, of course, deactivate any fonts or colors that you don't want to use when you're logged into your next year's book, and you can modify any character styles that you move forward. When you've made your selections, click Next. You'll be asked to confirm the export, and after clicking Next, you'll receive the confirmation screen. If you'd like to save forward templates and their associated images into the next year's book or supplement, go to the Templates section of the library. Click the Export Items button. Choose the option to export into an existing order. Then select the book to which you will export and click Next. Check the boxes beside the templates you wish to save forward, then click OK. Those templates and the images on those templates will be copied forward into the book you indicated. After saving items forward, you can switch projects using the Switch Projects link at the top of the home page to go to your next year's book or supplement.
And one thing I want to add also is at the end of this video, we've updated a little bit since, but the system will now prompt you to save it forward. So when you go to submit everything, as you saw in the last video, when it's done, it's going to prompt you and ask, hey, do you want to save things forward to the next year? So that will bring it right to your attention. But as Mark showed, you can always click the Save It Forward button at the top of the screen over here, and you can always do that when you need to, or go back and get some other pieces as you saw. So I hope that helps answer any questions you might have had about submitting the book and saving it forward. Now, the very next step, hopefully, is the fun day. This is Yearbook Distribution Day, and I'm going to share one video on distribution lists that might help you hand out the books. But before we do that, I did want to mention that I'm working on compiling some really good ideas from schools on distribution ideas, whether it's a party or just a more efficient way of tracking and handing out the books. So that will be available. If you have any requests, if you have any questions, I should say, about distribution ideas, please shoot me an email or give me a call, and I'll be happy to share. If you have some really cool distribution ideas that you've done in the past that you'd like to share with other schools, please also reach out and share that with me so I can get that to other schools as well. So this last video here on demonstrations is the distribution list functionality. So if you've used eBusiness with us to either track your in-school sales or if you've used our online sales portal, all the sales are recorded in one place. So when it comes time to this time of year and you want to pull a distribution list that includes everyone, no matter where they bought the book, whether it was online on our website, if they called one of our operators in Kansas City, or if you record them at school, they can all be recorded in one place so you can export a list with detail of the purchases. So I'm going to share that with you here, and I will be right back.
Let's look at how to use eBusiness to generate distribution lists. In the Reports area, click on Distribution. From the Type menu, select the type of distribution report you want. All Packages will create a list of each package purchase and show any monies due for collection at the time of distribution. In most cases, you'll probably leave this field set to All Packages. You can filter and sort the data as you wish. Typing in the search field at the top of a column will filter by that column. For instance, if I just wanted 10th graders on my list, I would type in 10 because that's how 10th graders are designated in my data. I could then click on a column heading to sort by that column. For distribution, you'll probably want to export your data for printing. From this menu, choose whether you want to export an Excel spreadsheet or a PDF. An advantage to choosing the Excel format is that you can hide columns of data you don't want to appear in your report. For instance, if I don't want to show student ID, I can go to the column options and disable that column. Then when I click download for my Excel file, that data is not included. And that's the basics of how you generate distribution reports in eBusiness.
So again, if you have any questions about submitting the book, saving it forward, or distribution lists, as you saw there with Mark, please feel free to let me know. Also, Yearbook Day, Distribution Day, if you'd like some ideas or if you'd like to share some ideas, please reach out and I'll be happy to get that information to you. It's an exciting time of year. The books are coming together really well. Like I said, I just got back from Kansas City to review things and things are looking great. And I'm very excited to get those to you for Distribution Day. So if you're working on that, any of those topics and have questions, otherwise, if you're working on your supplement or any other material that you might be saving and putting together for next year's yearbook, please let me know. I'll be happy to help in any way. In closing, I'd like to share another video, one of those inspirational videos that you've seen on the last few episodes. And this one is all about St. Jude. So I'm going to share that with you here today. If you have any questions, please reach out. Otherwise, I look forward to talking with you soon. Thank you very much.
I'm bringing some of the wisest, successful, most inspirational human beings on this planet into your classrooms for your benefit.
When everything was stacked against me, that's when I was at my best.
You never know when the days could stop counting. That's when you make them count.
You gotta shoot your shot.
We all have the ability.
I can do anything I put my mind to.
And they took a leap of faith. These are the answers, the blueprints. I'm providing them to you. I have this heart that bleeds for the youth of this country because we need to learn to lead. We need to elevate ourselves. That's how this world changes. It starts with you. Today we're traveling to Memphis, Tennessee. St. Jude is leading the world in the way we understand, treat, and defeat childhood cancer and other diseases. On top of being the leaders in fighting and treating childhood cancer, families don't have to pay a single dime.
It's a place where everybody cares about each other.
This is the story of one St. Jude cancer survivor and his message to make every day count.
I was just downtown having pizza in the back of my truck, watching the sunset with my girlfriend. And my mom was like, yeah, you need to come to the doctor's right now. So I came back that night, and then it was that next Sunday where we had a meeting with my doctor, who was a family friend. They're all in a circle. He said, Adam, I'm afraid you have leukemia. And I was like, what's leukemia? So it was a Sunday night. I had a 8 a.m. appointment at St. Jude that next morning. So that's when I met with my doctor, and he gave me my actual diagnosis of acute lymphoblastic leukemia.
Acute lymphoblastic leukemia is a cancer that affects the white blood cells, which fight infection and help protect the body against disease.
And treatment involves chemo, spinal taps, surgeries. I wasn't making every day count, and then after my diagnosis, you never know when the days could stop counting. That's when you make them count.
You know, we're often guilty of essentially not truly living, doing the things we want to before we die. We float through life, we float through routine. Challenge you to just do two things a year. Make a list and do 2 things, knock them out every year, vow to yourself. Make it a book of life instead of a bucket list. Make every day count. By the time you're 70 and you look back on your life, you'll be so proud of it. The things you accomplished, the things you did. Two things a year. Make every day count.
Back in my high schooler shoes, and to know that I was being diagnosed with cancer, my biggest worry was where I was going to college, but then it all changed when I was diagnosed.
Adam was diagnosed with cancer when he was 16. And the doctor said if they caught it a few weeks later, he wouldn't have even been treatable.
Went straight to the ICU that day. I started chemo that day. I had surgery the next day. I remember vividly waking up with a port. I had one right here and one right here. It's where you can easily stick a needle in, and then it has a thing that goes straight to one of the veins in your heart. Once the medicine goes in, it can go throughout the body really quickly than just putting it in a vein.
Sometimes when you go through traumatic experiences, it doesn't set in all the way, right away. It takes a while to really understand and really impact you. How difficult the situation can be.
And that's when I had my veggie smoothie with me that morning, just coming in. And called my mom and they're like, yeah, you can't eat anything, you can't eat anything. And that was like the first time like my freedom started to get taken away, like I made my veggie smoothie.
I mean, sacrificed friends, sports. I loved hanging out with people, but when you're going through treatment, your counts are so low, you basically can't hang out with people other than going to the hospital and going home, because you can easily get sick. So that was about a year long of just isolation, and it can really get to you. I woke up after one chemo day and I fell down the stairs and my dad caught me. And I blacked out for a while, and that's when I remember my sister crying, my mom crying. I could just tell it was having an emotional toll, a physical toll. It's just not right, really.
I want you to think of one thing that matters to you at your school. It could be a nonprofit, a charity event. It could be a person that really needs your help. What actions are you taking today to help that person? And if you don't know how, ask them. How can I help you?
I was determined to graduate with my class, and St. Jude made that possible. During that, I would go downstairs, meet with my teacher named Sarah, and it was just one-on-one. Around the table, there would be probably 2 or 3 other patients with their teachers with them. And that's when I met one of the strongest girls I've ever met, Hannah. We would goof around the majority of the time, just mess around. She's no longer with me, but I know she's looking over me though. I'm basically just sick of it. Like I didn't know much about cancer until I was diagnosed, but then I realized really quickly how awful it is and the work that's being done at St. Jude to stop it. I knew I could do something with my story.
Said that one of the things that came to you when you were lying in a bed at St. Jude was that you decided that you wanted to be a voice for the voiceless. That was your quote.
So I was getting chemo one day. I came up with a business plan to raise money for St. Jude, but I called the CEO of ALSAC. So he came over a few days later while I was getting chemo, and he was all for it. He was behind my back the whole way.
Since being diagnosed in 2014, Adam, his family, and friends have committed themselves to raising funds for his St. Jude Heroes team, Adam's Army. They did this by holding bake sales, dog washes, to training even for a half marathon. In the first year alone, Adam had rallied with his team more than $170,000 for St. Jude.
I tried to tell people, like, if I can do that, then you can do it with me, you can raise money with me. And that's when I knew that I had a really cool story to spread around, and there was still a lot of work to be done.
I want you to think of just one person, one charity event. It's a nonprofit that means something to you. How are you going to help? How are you going to get involved? What actions are you going to take today to make that change?
I'm here almost every other day from about 7 to 5, receiving a 4-hour chemo treatment. And every day there's always a kid that I just look at, and they can't speak. I mean, they're like 2 or 3, and I just know how much pain they're in. I've like been there. I've like taken their voice and try to just speak for my patients, my fellow patients. So last month, raised $50,000 just from reaching out to friends who would commit to raising money. And it's my goal this year for $100,000, and every year after that until I'm 26 years old. Now it's June, and I finished the last dose of that chemo last Friday.
Pack up your bags, get out the door, you don't get chemo anymore.
So that's why St. Jude keeps fighting. That's why I keep fundraising. In the last 50 years, the survival rates have skyrocketed, so I can't imagine what's going to happen in the next 50.
Every student in this country has an opportunity to make a difference in the world around them. If you wanted to get started as a student, easiest thing that you can do, first and foremost, go talk to an activities coordinator or an assistant principal or your principal and make sure that they'd be okay with hosting a school-wide event. Once you've done that, it's very, very easy. You or they go to stjude.org/teamup, and from there, it walks you through step-by-step of how to sign up, very quick and easy. The best ones that I've seen happen when two rival schools actually end up doing it at the same time. You never know when the next phone call that you get might absolutely shatter your world. The people that St. Jude treats, they've received that phone call. As a student, you have an opportunity to make their day even that much better. Just a little bit. You have an opportunity to potentially save a life.